Hi, I'm Ava Devine, and you're watching Ava Devine's Bad Advice. I'm not a licensed therapist or physician, but I am an expert, or shall I say, sexpert, at giving bad advice. So, you guys, I've had another Valentine's Day Part 2 episode with my favorite love and relationship coach, Regi. Regi Rodgers. I just call you Regi because we're becoming very, very close.
That's right.
Yes.
You're allowed to call me Regi.
Thank you. And Regi wrote this wonderful book, which is called Awake and Ready to Date. Okay, so I wanted to make this segment more focused on selfish, little old me.
Let's do it.
Okay, so, I wanted to talk about can adult entertainers have healthy relationships? And I feel like this episode may tie not only into adult entertainers, but anything of like a sexual aspect. And I feel like I want to know what's healthy and what's not. Plus, of course, we have a lot of fan questions coming up towards the end of our episode.
Okay.
So, being an adult film actress and being an adult entertainer, I've never had like really healthy relationships, and I want to go into further detail with some questions. So I wanted to know, what is your outlook on being in the adult entertainment and having a healthy relationship? Is it possible?
I believe it's possible, but I think the way to really set this up is really to define what health looks like. Because I think there's stages to get to a healthy relationship.
For sure.
And if you would allow me, let's
Yes.
go through some of these stages, because I think this will help us in regards to, building this crescendo to get to this healthy stage. So I would say the first stage would probably be a meet and greet. You meet somebody, you meet and greet. And in that meet and greet, it's kind of like an interview. We talked about it a little bit on the last episode. But in that meet and greet stage, there are questions that you should ask, because it's almost like we're doing an interview.
Okay.
When an employer brings you in for an interview, they already know, first of all, they've already described what the job description is, but they already know what kind of fit they want in that job description. They know what they're looking for. So you, in that meet and greet, should know what you're looking for. And there are questions that you should ask, just like the employer already has questions that they ask to see if it becomes a fit.
Okay.
So one of the questions that I always set up, that I tell people that I'm counseling, the first question I would tell them to ask is, what makes you unique? Why is that an important question? It's an important question because people like to talk about themselves if you set the stage for them to talk about themselves. So what makes you unique? You're going to make them think a little bit. But once they get started, they're going to go. And in that question, you're going to learn so much about that individual. That would be the first question.
Okay.
The second question I would tell you to ask is, how do you typically spend your days? Why? You don't want to ask them, what do they do for a living? Because when you ask what do they do for a living, that's a setup to see how much a person makes, to see, what's in their bank account. What do they drive? So what do you do? That's old school. So ask them, how do you typically spend your days? It's going to tell you a lot. The individual, he or she may say, I get up at 5 a.m. I'm typically at the gym. You're learning a lot. And as they're saying this, you're doing checks in your head to see if it fits into your commonalities where you are. The next question I would ask is, how do you typically spend your weekends? That'll tell you if they're a partier. That'll tell you if they like to go out. That'll tell you if they like to hang out all the time. And again, you're checking off boxes to see if it fits you, right? The next question I would tell you to ask is, what kind of relationship do you have with your family? Tell you if they're family people. They may not have a relationship. You may want somebody that's a family person. So I'm giving you questions to ask as we set this up, because, you want to see if it's your fit. But you have to know. You have to go in knowing what is your fit. That means you would have to have done the work. What is the work? Knowing what your deal breakers are, knowing what your deal makers are, knowing what your absolute non-negotiables are. Most people don't know because they haven't done the work. They haven't sat down, what's your deal breakers? I don't know. I just want a good man.
Yes.
Well, that's pretty vague.
Yes, yes.
What does your good man look like? You know, what does your good man entail? Okay, so that would be stage one. I would say meet and greet. But don't ask the questions as if you're interrogating them. Just let it flow. In the conversation, just let it flow. And as you're letting the conversation go and it's flowing, then start asking the question, because the worst thing you want that person to feel like you're interrogating them.
Sure.
Just let it flow. And remember last episode we talked about when the energy's wrong, the conversation probably will not be long.
That's right. I love that.
Right? All right. So we're going to set that meet and greet, stage one. Then we're going to go into what I call the stage. It's called the dating stage. Right? It's called creating and dating. Because now that we've gotten past that stage, now that person, I would like to go out on a date. Because after that meet and greet, it might not even warrant a date. You might not even want to go out on a date.
So let me interrupt. So you would say like a meet and greet is like having a cup of coffee?
Exactly.
Okay, so it's nothing big and extravagant. It's just
meet for coffee.
Okay, meet for coffee.
Just meet for coffee and tea and kind of get to know each other. Just meet and greet. That's stage one.
I like it. Okay.
Because how that typically works, this is why it's always twisted and tainted, is because if I met you today and I said, hey, let's go out. Let me take you out tonight. And you're interested in me, you're probably going to call your girlfriend, oh my God, I met this guy today. He's taking me on a date tonight. It's not a date because I don't really
know you.
Let's sit for a moment and see if it's a fit for us. You know why? Because at this stage in our life, our next move got to be our best move. If it's not our best move, we can't make it our next move.
For sure.
And time is our biggest commodity. And we do not have a lot of time to continue to waste. So how do we not waste time? Let's cut across the grain and let's see if it's going to work.
For sure.
By going through these stages. Does that make sense?
Most definitely. But you know, it's funny because I did have a gentleman, not gentleman, but I did have somebody say, I would love to take you out. I'm like, okay, great. Let's go to Summer House or someplace in Town Square. And he said, whoa, Ivanka Trump. I was like, what? He's like, that's way out of my budget. And I was like, next. I'm like, and especially after telling me he's such a huge fan of mine for years, then I'm like, you got to step up your game a little. So, but also if I met him for coffee, I don't know if I would know that he was a cheap jackass.
The vibe.
Okay. So
because your frequency is raised.
Yes.
You know, he might not be a high vibration person, and where your frequency, it would just click. You would know.
Okay. I like that. Okay, right. So coffee date.
Okay, so meet and greet. Next stage, I would say stage 2 is dating and creating. Now you're on the date. You want to see how the creation is working between the two of you. So I call that a dating and creating stage. All right. Stage 3, I would say, is my independence versus interdependence. Because you've been independent for so long, I've been independent for so long. Let's see how we mesh in terms of working together and creating some interdependence.
And what is the definition of interdependence?
Two people working together for a common cause, as opposed to you doing it isolated and alone.
Okay, so like a union.
Correct.
Okay.
Let's see if that works.
Okay, sure.
Because it might not work. Because you've been independent for so long, you might not want to allow me to come in. I might not want to allow you to come into my space. So that's the stage.
Okay.
But then this 4th stage is that's going to be your make and break.
Okay, let's hear it.
That's when you get to your dating differences. That's when your philosophies and my philosophies, they're not really matching up. We have some dating differences. The way you like to have sex may not be the way that I like to have sex. There's some dating differences here, right? Not to say that you can't get past it, but we're open now to talk about our dating differences so that we can see if we can create a resolution and see if we can mesh it to make, not make it work, but allow it to work. And I say that intentionally, not make it work, because you can't really make anything. Let it happen.
Sure.
So if it begins to happen, great. And that last stage would be happy and wholesome. See, so there are stages to get to that happy and wholesome stage.
Okay, so to sum it up for me, in kindergarten terms, it'd be first coffee date.
Okay.
Right? Interview-ish, gentle interview. Then a dinner date, right?
If it warrants it. It may not warrant that. You can do the coffee, the meet and greet 2 or 3 times to get together. Because the first time, I kind of like him. Let's do it again. Let's go out for coffee until you really feel settled.
Okay.
And then once you feel settled, now you don't have to rush to the dating stage.
Okay. All right. But then let's say if it worked out very well, okay, then it would be dinner date, like a restaurant, and get a little, like step it up a little bit more. Okay. Yes. And then third would be to see if we have independence and interdependence, where we could be a union. How would we like celebrate that? Or how would we like do date 3 or level 3, stage 3?
I wouldn't say you're going to celebrate that. I would say you're more going to validate it.
Okay, how would we
celebrate it?
That, yeah.
You'll validate it by seeing it if it's clicking where what you have put on your piece of paper. You're checking your boxes to see if your independence can merge into his independence, but you guys can create some great interdependence. Again, that goes back to what I always say about how I build relationships on people that are synergistically involved.
Yes. Okay. So that could even be another restaurant date or a concert or something.
Yeah, it could. Okay. Phone calls.
Okay, phone calls.
Now you guys are talking on the phone. Now you guys are having conversation. You're conversing. But you remember in the last episode, in that stage 1, I called it my C stage.
Mm-hmm.
That was how you converse. That was how you communicate. That was to see if there were any commonalities.
Mm-hmm.
See if there was chemistry.
Yes.
To see if you can ultimately get to the place of seeing if there is some type of connection.
Yes. That's the goal, the connection.
Yes.
Okay. And then the fourth one would be after the interdependence. See, we commingle, right? It would be more of would it be the differences? The dating the differences. Okay. That's important. Yeah.
Very important.
Very important.
That's why I said that's your make or break right there.
Yes.
Because just because we do have some differences, of course, no two people are alike. If two people are the same, somebody's obsolete.
Sure.
So no two people are. So that's your make or break stage to see if we can mesh into understanding how to agree to disagree.
Yes. That's tough.
Yeah.
Okay. So I like that. Okay. So it is possible, right? Because it doesn't really matter of the job, or do you think it does? Because, so this is the other question I have. How is jealousy navigated when one's job is intimacy? That's why I need to know, is because when I've dated some people, they get very jealous at work. Either if it's, they start kind of making limitations of what they're comfortable with on film and what they're not. So I feel like jealousy gets, takes over, and then the person starts somewhat trying to control.
Okay.
Or like gets very fearful. And I try to explain to them that, doing adult films, like I said on the first episode, a lot of these people have their own lives. And I respect that as a professional. Like I said, adult films for me today is not a dating service. Years ago, sure. Of course, you're young, reckless, wild, fun, whatever. Today, not so much. And like I said, everybody has their own lives. A lot of these talents are married or not interested, So it's like, we're here to do a job. So how does one like navigate the jealousy aspect of that?
I think that's a very tough one, because those are conversations that have to be had on the front end. Those conversations need to be hammered and had on the front end. They have to be very clear as it relates to what you do. It's not a hit or miss. It has to be hammered. This is what I do. Now, are you sure this is something that you're okay with?
Yeah.
And you'll get a feel, you'll know, and as time continues to progress, you'll see how the other person is reacting to what you do. Then you have to make a decision based off of how that person is reacting. Is that going to work for you?
Sure.
Because it may not be something that's going to work for you. Great person, like this person, but I'm not sure long term that this is going to work for me, because I'm having this conversation on the front end so that I don't have to get into this long term and then discover, oh, this is this is going to be a
Yeah.
major issue.
Yeah, I mean, because I understand everything's a living document, but sometimes it's like, the person says, "Oh, I'm okay with that," and then a couple months later, they're like, "I'm not," and I'm like, ugh, that's confusing,
But would you rather them a couple months later
Yes.
show than 2 years later?
For sure. But sometimes it happens 2 years later
And
too.
would you rather it happen 2 years later than happen 15 years later?
Yeah, very true. And look, it's supposed to happen when it happens, but
you just have to be prepared to make a decision that if it gets to that and it does happen, you have to be prepared to make the decision that you feel is going to be best suited for you.
For sure. And I'm very transparent. I mean, not even that, but you have the internet. So it's like, if you don't take my word, you could watch the scene in a couple, so it's like, I'm very transparent. So I feel like there's no need to lie.
Right.
Okay. So I like that answer. I like these answers. Okay. How's this question? How do we separate who we are from what we do? And will there always be an expectation? My persona, my adult film persona, is very wild. Anything goes, everything goes. I'm known for to be the lady of the lake, which means anytime, anywhere, anyhow, let's go, right? But when I'm in a relationship, I don't want to do a gangbang, even though I said that in the first episode. But honestly, I wouldn't want my partner to be like
gangbang Thursday.
Maybe not Thursday, Monday. No, but yeah. But what happens? Do you think there's an expectation, or even I'm supposed to do backdoor action every day, or I'm supposed to do it deeply every day, even if I just ate a 5-course meal, So it's how do I separate who I am with what is being seen?
Well, who you are, what you do is not necessarily who you are, but that has to be more than just words. That has to be in action.
Sure.
By when you come home, having these conversations again, and these are conversations that we're going to constantly have to have because of the fact what you do and emotions are involved. And the closer you become with someone, the more emotions that person has towards you. And the closer they feel towards you, of course, the harder it is going to be for them to see you with someone else.
Sure.
So you have to constantly put this in the face of that person by having this conversation. And then based off of their reaction and how they feel, at some point you might just need to stroke it a little bit, the ego a little bit, and just let them know, hey, again, this is what I do, but this is not who I am.
For sure.
This is definitely not who I am. Yes, I do this, but guess what? When I leave there, I come home to you. Why do I come home to you? Because I love you more than anything else. You have to have those conversations.
For sure. Reassurance.
And that's called, I was going to say, you have to constantly reassure that person, because of the field that you're in.
Yeah, for sure.
You have to. And I know that could be cumbersome, that you constantly have to, but because of the field you're in, I think that it may require a little bit more stroking than something else.
Than a librarian.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Right? And
Absolutely.
And if a partner is worth it, you gotta put in the work.
If you feel he's worth it, you'd be willing.
Sure.
Of
put
course.
in the work. Yes. Most
Anything
definitely.
worth having is worth working for to keep.
I believe that. Okay. Now also, what do you think about them seeing me and having expectations that I'm always on, or I'm always going to want to do that?
That's a hard one, Ava, because you're so sexy. I'm sure whomever you're going to go home to, they're going to always have those expectations. But at the end of the day, expectations can be good.
Yeah.
Expectations can be great. It's how we funnel or channel those expectations as it relates to what those expectations become, right? And I think your expectations could keep the adventure, to keep the excitement, because in a relationship you want to keep the fire, you want to keep the adventure, you want to keep the excitement. So you have that intrinsically to allow that to happen because of what you do. So I think the expectations has to be something, again, that has to be communicated. What are your expectations? Because If I hire somebody to do work for me, they want to know what my objective is. What are your expectations? What would you like to see me accomplish? Same thing. I need to find out what are the expectations. And once I determine what the expectations are, can I accomplish those expectations? Because I work however many hours I'm working. This is what I'm doing while I'm at work. But when I come home, sometimes I just need to relax. Sometimes I just need to recalibrate. And so will you be understanding enough to allow me to relax and recalibrate? Don't worry, I got you. When I come out of this rest, I got you. You just have to have those conversations.
Sure. Yeah. Does that happen to you? Like, since you were like a love and life coach and relationship coach, do you get like when you come home from a long day sometimes or after a long speaking engagement and your significant other wants to converse and talk about emotions and feelings, is that wearing for you?
Yeah. So here's what I used to get a lot. When people would realize what I did and who I was, in that meet and greet stage or even maybe in the dating and creating stage, they would start to ask me about relationships. But if I were to ask questions to them, they would sit back and be like, so are you interviewing me now? I mean, tell me, because, like you are a relationship coach. And so are you trying to get into my mind now? What's going on here? I'll be like, just relax. We just having fun. Just relax. So yeah, sometimes I think people want me to take home who I am or what I do and make it who I am.
Sure.
Constantly.
Yes. And how do you handle that?
Tell them in the back, just relax. We just having fun. I'm not a coach right now. I'm sitting here having fun with you right now. Let's just enjoy this time.
Yes. It's hard sometimes because you're like, wait, I'm Regi lover homebody right now, not Regi the relationships coach right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I get it. Here's a great question that I want to know. Is it harder to evolve when the internet freezes you in time? And I do want to talk about this topic because it's very important for me. I'll give you an example. So, Pamela Anderson, she recently, or not recently, but last year or something, came out as like she's not going to wear any makeup anymore. Like her new look is all natural. And my first impression was like, bummer. Like, you are known for like glam, plastic, overly done everything and makeup to the millionth degree. And I had a really hard time like accepting her at her new era and her new phase. But at the same time, I had to realize people do evolve.
Yeah.
What is your take on that?
My take on that is life is broken down into quadrants. The first quadrant of life is what we call learn. How do we learn?
Mm-hmm.
We learn one through observation, we see, and then we learn through experimentation. We try what we see. So then we observe, and then we try, experiment with what we observe. So observation, experimentation, but then when you experiment, you discover what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So from the experimentation, we grow into maturation. So the first quadrant of life is about learning. We learn through observation, experimentation, and then we learn through maturation. You get to a place where you mature.
Sure.
Because you've been there, done that.
Yes.
Don't need to do that anymore. Right? That's maturing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first quadrant of life, is learning. Then the second quadrant of life is what we call earning. That's when you're about trying to earn respect. You're earning a living. You got to earn your keep, right? That's all of us go through that. You want to earn the respect of your peers, people.
Sure.
But then after we get past that quadrant, which was the earning quadrant, this is where we are now. We're in this quadrant of turning. Now we don't give a damn. We don't give a damn what people think. We don't give a damn what people say because we know who we are.
Yes.
And we're so comfortable in our skin right now. And we love who we are. In fact, we're at that place now where can't nobody beat us being us. And we love being us. That's where Pamela Anderson is right now. It's because she's turned. It's called turning. So my take on that is all of us has to go through when we get to that place of, we don't give a damn what people think. We don't give a damn what people say anymore. We're past that. Why? because we love being us. And we realize nobody can beat me being me. Nobody can walk like me, because if they walk like me, they're imitating me. I'm the originator. So
Yes.
they're the duplicators. They're
Yes.
trying to be me.
Yes.
Right? So let me be me, because you're not going to beat me being me. So that's my take on it. All of us have to get to that place where we're turning.
I like that. Yeah. And I find the key factor is being comfortable in my own skin. Because if I'm dating and somebody and they're like, oh my God, you're with Ava Devine, she's the biggest whatever, derogatory tramp, but that doesn't define who I am today.
No.
And or maybe it does. Maybe I am still that. Like, either way.
Do you consider yourself that?
Not as much as I used to be when I was younger.
So only thing that matters is what you consider.
Very true.
For yourself.
But I do believe I earned that title. I worked hard.
So you're
yeah, I did. I do, and I don't feel like it's a negative, it's a negative thing. I feel like very positive, because I'm sexually expressive and I loved living life to the fullest with as many schlongs and vaginas as I possibly could. And like, I don't want anyone ever take that away from me. Like, that's
you said two key words there. Loved, past tense, that I could. That's considered past tense. Not that I am.
Yes.
Or not that I love.
True.
Because that would be present tense. So let's appreciate the past.
Most
the past
definitely.
build us to who we are to now.
Most definitely.
Right?
Exactly.
But there is again, I always try to throw some type of scripture in here at some point.
Okay.
Because there's a scripture, and I'm not sure where it is, but it says, I forget those things that are behind me. But what I do is I press towards the things that are before me. So that means I have no memory of the things that are behind me. The things that are behind me has made me who I am.
Most definitely.
But now what I'm doing, because I've matured, I'm pressing to the things that are ahead of me.
Yes.
The things that are before me. Because what's to come is better than what's been. And that's the mindset that you have to have. And when you get into that mindset, that means you're in the present moment. That means it's already looking better.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. So you feel for us adult entertainers or adult film actresses and actors, do you think we have, do you think it's beneficial for us getting into a relationship, or do you think we'll always have that stigma?
What I do think is, your relationships will probably be a lot harder than, as you said, a librarian. It will definitely be a lot harder. I would never tell nobody not to get into a relationship, but what I would say is, make sure you've done the work required to get into a relationship so that you can have a healthy relationship.
Yes.
Because if you have not done the work that's required, you're just going to continue to be in a cyclical pattern. A cyclical pattern. You're just chasing yourself. But I would say do the work. I just laid out a great plan for whomever's listening. I gave you stages.
I love
Go
it.
through those stages. Understand those stages, right? Because you have to do the work. What are your deal breakers? Do you have a deal breaker?
Sure.
What's a deal breaker?
I don't like anyone that drinks or drugs. Deal breaker. I can't be around that.
Give me another deal breaker.
Someone that's too submissive in the bedroom. Unfortunately.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I just need, I mean, look, I'm very versatile, but unfortunately, privately and personally off camera, I would probably want to be the bottom instead of the top.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to be the dominant one.
Okay.
But then again, I don't want someone to I don't want to be BDSM where they're my master or mistress.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would like I wouldn't want someone so submissive. I don't think. Maybe that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
You want a man that's going to
or a stronger,
have those man traits.
Person,
that's going to, Can I tell you a funny story? So this was some years back, and a friend of mine who's actually an actor in LA wanted to connect me with this famous actress. So he made the call, got everything set up. She was on set. So he said, go down to the studio, whatever. I went to the studio. At that time she was in a sitcom. I went there, and I had to sit there and wait for her to finish, So when she finished, she said, no, I have been filming all day. I think I'm just going to go home. No, I sat there and wait for her. So I said, oh, no, you're not going home. She said, what you mean? I said, you're not going home. I didn't sit here and wait for nothing. I said, whatever you got to do, go throw some water on your face. I don't go change. Whatever you got to do, we going out. And she went, oh, my God, you're a manly man, right? I said, oh, yeah. She said, I'm so used to me. I'm calling the shots and I'm telling people what to do. I said, no, you about to put some water in your face. We're going out. And to today, we are super close. And she always tells that story because I wouldn't let her, boss me. We going to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how it's supposed to. You step it up. Take the position. Take your position. You're a man. I think sometimes people just try to press a button to see what they can get, how far they can go.
Yeah, I just feel like people should put effort into things. Okay, so let me ask you this question. Say if you I met somebody that was cheating on his significant other. Could that be a healthy relationship, or would I constantly think that person if he's doing that to that significant other, it would be a habitual act? And they're like, once a cheater, always a cheater. Like, how do you feel about that?
I don't believe once a cheater, always a cheater. I've heard that quite often, but I don't believe that. I think that there are times when people have an encounter with someone and due to circumstances, they end up staying together because of circumstances.
Sure.
The love may have been gone a long time ago, but because of circumstances, they remain and they hung in there. Circumstances could be they had children and they didn't want to split because of the children, or financial reasons. They had a lot of finances tied up together, and so they hung in there because they realized that it was going to be a debacle if they end up separating. So I think there are reasons why sometimes people hang in there when the love has been gone a long time ago. Now, am I giving somebody a green light to cheat? That's not what I'm saying here. But I am saying that there are situations and circumstances where, let's say you meet that individual and you both realize, oh my God, the commonalities are there. The chemistry is there. The connection is there. And so it's really, off the chain. It's off the Richter scale, what you guys have. The frequency level, you guys are operating in a high vibratory frequency, high vibrational people, and there's just something magic there. Then you guys need to have a conversation and maybe strategize, come up with some type of plan, short term that leads into a long-term plan, how we're going to allow this to develop. Mm-hmm. And, if you're understanding enough you guys can walk through it together, that something magical can possibly happen.
Right? There's hope for everybody.
Absolutely.
I like that. Okay, here's another question. Okay, this has a lot to do with the psyche and sex. Can adult entertainers still experience emotional closeness since there's detachment during the acts of work?
Okay. That has a lot to do with, to me, transactional and relational. So when I say transactional, the work, I'm doing this for work, but I'm getting paid. So it's a transaction.
Sure, most definitely.
Right? So it's not really relational, but it's transactional.
Yes.
Now, how you determine when you get home that you're going to show your emotions with the other person, that it's relational, has a lot to do with you. Can you turn off the transactional to flip on the relational?
Sure.
Or do you remain in the transactional and then you make him feel like it's transactional because you haven't turned off the transactional aspect and you haven't given him the relational side? So a lot of that has to do with, am I still remaining in the transaction? Or have I turned off the transaction so when I go home, I can actually give this man the relational that he wants, or that she wants.
Yeah.
Am I giving that person the relational, or am I remaining in the transactional? So for me, it's a transactional relational thing.
Yeah. That's a really good aspect, because fortunately, but unfortunately, right? I have a switch, right? And I could turn it on or turn it off. And
Okay, let me ask you that.
Uh-huh.
Right, sorry to interrupt you,
No, you're fine.
but if you can turn it on and turn it off, does your man feel like once you turn it off, do you turn it off to a place where he doesn't feel like it's fabricated with him?
Most definitely. But like I feel that like being able to turn off the switch or turn on the switch can benefit me in life in general, because when I have to detach from like any situation, I'm able to do it. Like sometimes I scare myself. I'm like, am I a sociopath? Like, wow, am I Ted Bundy? Like, wow. But like I can go there if I have to. And but when I turn off that switch, I am such a little love puppy. Like, I'm so emotionally in depth. Is that the word? Adept
or in depth.
Yeah.
Either one.
Yes. I'm emotionally like into it. Like, yeah. So I feel like it's it's a big blessing to be able to harden when I need to, or to detach when I need to shut it off, or to turn it back, to turn it off or on, and like to go back to like work, transactional and relational. I'm able to like do that. And it's like concise. Like it's like, wow, black and white. Like I'm able to.
Okay. I have a question for you. This is a personal question for you. By you being such a boss and a very independent woman, in stage 3 of what we talk about, independence versus interdependence, it goes back to a little bit of what you were just saying. Are you able to allow the interdependence because you're a boss, and I feel like that's just your demeanor, that's how you flow, that's how you operate in. But would you allow your man to, how would I say it? Would you allow your man to be in this relationship without feeling emasculated?
Most definitely. Now the problem is I'll admit I'm a little codependent. I like intermingling. I like being all up in each other's business and stuff. So sometimes I have a hard time being independent, where I'm like, oh, what are you doing today? I'll revolve my schedule around you, and that's something I'm working on, because it's very difficult, because I get very distracted. Unfortunately, I get very distracted where I can't be the boss that I truly am. And I get blurred. So it's like, I'm like, oh, instead of doing the podcast, I'm like, what's your schedule, Regi? I'm going to work it around your schedule. Tell me, and I'll put you first instead of my needs almost.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
And right now, like, I feel like I'm navigating life by myself.
Okay.
Independently. And I'm really enjoying it, because I'm really, really getting a lot done. And I don't have any distractions. And also, I'm also setting boundaries for myself, like ASAP. So I told you, this gentleman was like, okay, we're going to go on a date, but I'll talk to you when the date happens. And I'm like, no, I'm not looking for that. Like, you can't just text me or reach out like the day of, like, and that was a week ago, like a week when I met him. And I was like, you know what? That's not what I want. And I'm not going to co-sign you or BS, because that's what you like. That's not cool for me. I'm a bare minimum chick.
Yeah.
I'm not a bare minimum chick.
Okay.
You can't give me bare minimum.
Okay.
And especially when we do take our relationship a little bit further and wind up having sex and stuff, like, I'm not trying to have you ghost me either, or like because I could tell that respect factor right there. It's like you set the tone already, and I'm thinking clearly, and I hear you clearly, and I see you clearly, because I'm not desperate. So I'm like, we ain't even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna give you the opportunity to meet me Thursday. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe it's cold, maybe it's not, and calculated, but I just don't have time for that. I'd rather sit here with you on the podcast work on my other platforms than twiddle my thumbs and wait for your message.
I would like to make a suggestion though. I think where you are now in life is you're in such a great place.
Mhm.
And you're allowing your independence to be explored and your independence is coming out. But stay open-minded, so that if you do have that encounter, you will be able to intermingle with the
For sure.
independence and the interdependence, so that the other person doesn't feel slighted, doesn't
Sure.
feel like you're emasculating him, so that, we come in, the other person comes in whole, you come in whole, and you guys create some synergy and some magic.
For sure, but I could tell that person wasn't whole,
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, and like I said, when I'm lonely and desperate, that's trouble.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So
that's a
it's
good
like, I'm
place.
like, I'm okay to cut you off. Like, see you around the block. Like, see you later.
You're in
Yeah.
a good place. You're in a really good space
and
right
it's
now.
not coming from an arrogant, cocky.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not going to put up with that. Like,
And nor should you have to.
exactly. And
You
that's a
should not.
boundary. That's not comfortable to me. That doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. If it doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy, then I don't need it, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so now I have fan questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, those weren't fan questions?
No, those were Ava questions.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it.
So here are fan questions. Okay. Ryan Zeet is asking, will bringing in partners ruin or enhance a relationship? Sexual partners, I believe he's referring to.
Numbers don't lie. So from a statistics standpoint, the statistics show that couples who were married and brought in other people into the bedroom, it's a 92% breakup rate.
Oh, really?
92%.
So the lifestyle
It's that.
is...
So numbers don't lie.
Mm.
So therefore, that means we have 8% that may have had some success,
Mhm.
but 92% didn't. So again, nothing is impossible.
Mhm.
But what I would say, that's a very tough one.
Mm.
And that's going to take two people, even if they're on the same page, sometimes we evolve, we change. Because we're always in a state of evolving and changing. So how I may have thought 5 years ago, that's not how I'm thinking now, but you're
Mhm.
still there and that's what
Yes.
you still want to do, but I don't, right? I'm at a whole different place.
Sure.
So that's a very, very tough one. And numbers don't lie. So it just depends on, what you want. And thinking long term, is it's going to be something that's going to have the sustainability long term.
Okay, you want to hear my bad advice?
Let's hear your bad advice.
Okay, well, Ryan, this is my bad advice. I feel if the relationship is doomed, it's going to be doomed. I feel it doesn't really matter for whether it be to bring in another person, a partner, activity. If the relationship is rocky and you're ignoring the red flags and you're just coexisting just to coexist, bringing 20 partners or one, you're doomed, period. That's how I feel because I've had that experience. And I was like, okay, we're going to bring in partners. I want to do that. And to look back, I realized the relationship was doomed. It was rocky. And we could say, that was the tip of the iceberg. We could say we shouldn't have gone there. But honestly, we were messed up from the get-go.
Wow.
And that's what I feel. I feel if you're so strong as a couple that nothing will break it. It's unbreakable.
Let me ask you this. What if you're in an exceptional relationship?
Mm-hmm.
The magic is phenomenal. The synergy is exceptional and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And you just the admiration and respect that you two show each other.
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to bring someone into that picture?
Sure.
And by bringing someone into that picture, would there be something in the back of your mind that would say to you, what if I mess this up? Because we're in such a great place.
Sure, but I feel that my restricting partners or to bring somebody into a relationship, isn't that powerful. It's like, that's not the saving grace. If I'm very strong with someone, we're going to be strong no matter what. And even if things don't go well with the threesome or the whatever, we can work it out if we're that strong. If we're not, it's doomed, like I said. So I don't think bringing in a partner is going to make it or break it. I think that's the foundation you have with somebody.
What is the goal of a relationship, though? What is the goal in a relationship? What is your ultimate goal? What would you want from your partner?
I want support and caring, consideration, loving. I want a team player and not someone to co-sign me, co-sign my nonsense. I want a team player that's supportive and takes a look and goes, let me hear your views. Let me hear your point of view. Let me see why you're so, insistent on this situation. Let me hear you out. Not shutting me down because they don't like it. Not to, I want to agree to disagree, right? What is it? Disagree.
Agree to
disagree, yeah. But I want to talk it out. And I want communication to be like on point, like complete communication. Not that brutally honest nonsense people talk about. Oh, I'm just going to be brutally honest. No, you just want to hurt my feelings. Like, I want you to be so considerate and transparent, but caring and gentle, but 110% honest, where we understand each other. I want to be able to look across the room and know exactly what you're talking about. I want you to be able to finish my sentences.
Okay.
Like that's the kind of relationship I want. And always get each other's back. I want to be with someone that's elevating me, not tear me down, insult me, try and make me feel bad because they're jealous or insecure. Like, so a relationship for me is like a communion, a union, right? A sanctity, a sacred bond where you have almost, if it's even possible, unconditional love. Like where you want to see me happy and I want to see you happy, even if it's bringing another person and you sampling their vaginas and like you're having joy with that. Like, I'm so comfortable with us and in myself that I'm like, good, honey, have fun. Like enjoy it. And we do it and we're open communication. Like, that's the kind of relationship I want.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
For you. That's why I asked. That's why I'm asking. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be about sex, but if it even goes there, I want that unconditional love where it's like, I want you to enjoy yourself and I won't get jealous because I'm so secure and we have such a strong bond and foundation that she's hot. Enjoy. Like, of course you're going to enjoy. Of course you're going to love it. I want you to love it, but I don't want you to sneak behind my back to love it. Or I don't want you to lie and pretend downplay it. It wasn't that great. Or,
So, to me, that's another conversation because that's a risk you take by allowing that to happen. That's a risk. And I think that's a question that are you willing to accept all the risk that comes along? That's why I painted the picture of this couple having this wonderful relationship. But then now you want to explore, and are you willing to accept all the risk that comes along with that? So that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, but honestly, I think it goes back to the individual. Are you a liar? Are you a sneak? If you have it in you.
Has he ever, but if he wasn't before, right? The scenario now has him in this situation where he has what we call this dichotomy. The dichotomy is he's torn now between two people. He wants to be true to you and he wants to continue to love you and he wants to get back to where we were before this. But if he was to come to you and tell you, he doesn't know how that's going to happen. So he has to I'm just saying those are things that you got to really, really think about. That's where that communication, you got to constantly throw that communication out. And then you also have to, when you get to a certain place, you have to think long term.
Sure. But communication, so if he says, hey, I want to hook up with Pamela again, I want us to do it with Pamela. And I go, you know what? I don't want to do Pamela this week. If he has my back and if we have such a strong bond, he will say, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we don't have a strong bond and no foundation, he's going to sneak. He's going to lie. He's going to cheat, whatever. That's just individuals, right? So whether we bring in Pamela or not, if you're a dirty piece of crap, you're going to be a dirty piece of crap. Like, bottom line, like, it's not going to just come out of you one day. It's in you. Evil is in people. Whether you bring it out because of you bringing another person, it's in you or it's not. And if you love somebody and you respect somebody and you know this is what I truly want. Maybe you don't truly want it.
Yeah.
Then you got to dip out, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, right, everything unfolds how it's supposed to. Maybe I'm not supposed to be with him. Maybe our foundation wasn't that strong after all. Whether or not it was Pamela, Michael, whatever, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel, for me, for Ryan, I feel that if the foundation is strong enough and there's utmost communication, like utterly communicating about every detail at every turn, then I think it's a good thing. If you have somebody that wants to lie and sneak and all that, then and there's no strong foundation, then it won't work. Like a house, right? A house is built
on a foundation.
Yeah.
Solid foundation.
Exactly. If I get a crickety-crackety house, a little shed or a little teepee, and I'm in Miami, that's going to be gone.
You bought that house like that knowing that's how it was, right?
Sure.
So you went into that situation knowing that's how it was.
Sure, but guess what? I can't control people.
No, you can't control. But you went into the situation knowing that that's how that person was. You wasn't control. You accepted that. So you accepted everything that came along in that situation.
Sure, but if I'm thinking the foundation is strong, right? Because that's what I'm believing. Just like my house, I believe it's strong. I don't believe Hurricane Louisiana or whatever can whip it away. Then I'm going to believe it's a strong house.
And see, I think my expanded consciousness comes out, because I want to take that on a whole different twist. My expanded consciousness comes out with, you use the word evil. And this is debatable for so many people. But I think evil is a label. And I think if you put a label on someone, that's what you call them. That's what they become, because that's the label you put on them, right? So I think what happens is, if I don't put the label on them, I'm saying that they made a choice that I wouldn't have made. That's the difference for me. I'm not going to call that person evil per se. I would just say they made a choice that I wouldn't have made. And your choices determine what happens. It's called reciprocity. What you put in is what you get out. You made that choice, so that's what you're going to get out, right?
Sure.
So I just think that from an expanded conscious perspective, it's how we label, what label we put on it. So if we call it evil, then that's what it's going to be. But if we don't call it evil, we just say that's a choice, and that's what it's going to be. So again, the label makes the difference to me.
Well, I mean, if you lie, cheat, and steal, to me,
they made the choice to do that.
But that's an evil choice.
Again, it's evil because that's the label you determined that it would be, but they did make that choice. So I just think that understanding, when we go back to Genesis, I think one of the things that's super important for me is everything God made, he made it what? Good. So I throw this twist on it. It's all good and it's all God. But people make choices.
They're fallible. We're all fallible, correct. But I'm walking into this foundation of a house to be strong and sturdy. That's my intentions, right? I can't control what the other partner does, but if you lie, cheat, and steal, I don't want to have it. That's not a strong foundation for me.
And that's not going to work for you.
Exactly.
And exactly. Yeah. I'm not saying remain. It's not going to work for you. I guess the point that I was making, it goes back to the risk. Are you willing to accept all the risks that comes along to that choice that you made by wanting to bring somebody? Are you willing to accept all the risks?
Sure, because if I believe that foundation's strong, then we're unbreakable.
Okay, so then when the foundation becomes breakable because that person now has gone behind your back and lied, cheated, and steal, that's the risk.
But that's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
Yeah, because guess what? That person would have done it 2 days from now, 80 years from now, or currently. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't feel that bringing in the extra person's going to make it or break it.
Okay.
That they're either The foundation is wonky from the get-go, or it's
Wonky.
strong as all get out.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's how I view it.
I like the word wonky. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Exactly. Okay. Last question. All right. Caddy Ben says, or Cuddly Ben, or Cuddly something says, can't read my own handwriting. I'm an OF content creator. I do well, and my boyfriend doesn't work. How do I view him as an equal, or do I have more power being the breadwinner?
Good questions. You know, women have this ability from the manufacturer or the creator to get a man to do anything they want him to do based off of how they package it. You know, let's say, for example, Eva, you and I are a couple, and I never make up my bed. And you say to me, I am getting sick and tired of you not making up the bed. Every morning we get up, you never make up the bed, and I'm just getting sick and tired of it. Well, I'm a warrior. My defense mechanisms are going to come up. And guess what? I probably never will make up the bed just because of how you packaged it. Now let's change the narrative. You say to me, baby, I don't know if I ever told you, but you are so sexy when you bend over and pull those sheets up. I love how your biceps and triceps come up. When you pull the sheets up, oh my God, you have no idea what it does to me when you make up the bed. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make up the bed every morning. It's because of how you packaged it. Women have the ability from the manufacturer to get anything that they want from a man and get a man to do anything. Now, in that scenario that you just gave me, she's the breadwinner.
Yes.
But how was she packaged? Does he feel emasculated? Is she coming to him, making him feel lesser than? If she packaged it properly and say, you know, baby, I was just thinking the other day, oh my God, there are some jobs to me that are extremely sexy. In fact, I pictured you doing such and such, and I couldn't wait to get home just to be with you because, oh my God, my body was just fire just to get home because I envisioned you climbing up a telephone pole, being a telephone man. That dude is going to go get a paper to look for a job. It's how you package it. You can change the narrative because your words create your world. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of situations like that, a lot of powerful women become emasculating to their men. And they talk down on their men.
Sure.
So that man now, he's feeling some kind of way. So he's like, man, forget you. He's going to do what he wants to do. So my point is, package it properly, and then you could get the promise that you want from that man.
Okay, so basically words of encouragement and positive reinforcement.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. But how do you view, so you think that when she asked, how do I view him as an equal? If he's not stepping up to the plate and providing, how can she view him as an equal?
Well, he was an equal when he walked down the aisle and you guys said, I do.
Okay, so the minute she said, hello, yes, let's be my...
He was their equal. That's why you decided to say yes. Now, I'm in a scenario it's not pleasant. I don't particularly like the situation that we've grown into. So now let's see what I can do. There's this, I'm trying to pull this word. It's called, so women have two things that the manufacturer gave to you guys. One is women's intuition. You guys are spot on with your intuition. That's from the manufacturers, women's intuition. And the other is sex appeal. That's what you guys have from the manufacturer.
Sure.
And because of that sex appeal, if you use it properly and if you package it properly, then you can change, you guys can change worlds. You can definitely change scenarios by using it properly.
Ava Devine for president.
Okay. So in that situation, again, as far as being equal, you thought he was equal, or you thought she was equal when you guys walked down that aisle and both of you said, I do. And you said yes.
Okay, so basically, she should view him as an equal since they're a couple.
Yes, but the situation may have changed. And again, evolution, evolving. You may have evolved past where he is presently. You may have passed him up in your evolution. Do you have the capacity to go back and see if you can get him there? And does he have the capacity to get there? Now that's a decision you'll have to make based off of that scenario. Because a lot of times capacity comes into play. Because since we're always becoming, do you have the capacity to withstand who I'm going to become?
Sure.
That's thinking long term again.
Yeah. And also Cuddly Bear or Ben, maybe you have a resentment. Maybe she resents the fact that he doesn't do anything and she's the breadwinner. So you may need to look into that as well. Maybe you have you're suppressing some kind of a resentment and you don't feel he's an equal. I don't know.
So is he suppressing or is she suppressing?
I feel like she maybe.
Because
she says, I'm an OF content creator. I do well and my boyfriend doesn't work. How do I view him as an equal? Or do I have more power being the breadwinner? So right now, from what I'm hearing, which I've experienced too, Cuddly Bear, I don't view them as an equal. I see them as less than because I'm the one bringing, I'm paying for things. I'm paying all the bills. I'm doing all that, And I feel for myself, I can only speak for myself, I start losing a little bit more respect each time I pull out my wallet. And look, I'm all about I'm not about, the man needs to pay and all that. I just feel when somebody is constantly sitting there with their hands in their lap and I'm constantly opening up my wallet, that gives me a bad feeling. It's not a warm and fuzzy feeling.
Okay.
It kind of gives me a little of a ick.
I would like to go to the root of that. Because if that person was with me, I would love to go deeper because the root of that for me would be, has he ever contributed?
Sure.
When you met him, was he a provider? Maybe he's in a slump right now. And so maybe at this moment he's not providing. And since he's not providing at this moment, do you make him feel lesser than because he's in a slump, he lost his job, he's laid off, he can't find work? How are you approaching the situation for him? Because did he ever provide? Was he ever equal based? And then when he did provide, did you work? Did he take care of you? So now that the role has reversed, how are you making him feel? See, I would love to be in front of that person so we can go deeper because I would love to know how that scenario was.
That's a whole nother episode.
Absolutely.
Huh? Yeah. But no, I love it all. I think these are really great questions. I'm so glad all my fans are asking me questions on bad advice. question@gmail.com. And what did you think? How was this episode?
I think it was great. And before we go, I want to play this game with you.
Okay.
I got it here.
Okay.
I want to play this game with you. I'm going to ask you, watch this, because this whole evening we've been talking about, relationships.
Yeah.
And so I came up with 2 words.
Okay.
And they have to do with dating and relationships.
Okay.
But I want you to give me your definition of what you think these words are.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So the first word would be explorating.
Say that again.
Explorating.
I don't even know what that word means.
It's
Okay.
It's just a made up word.
Okay, let's see.
Put it into today's, or put it into what we've talked about today and come up with a definition for me.
Explorating. It sounds like exploring the date. So I would say I'm a spelling fanatic, believe it or not. So I'm trying to think how I would spell the word. So I feel it would be like exploring the date. And so it's kind of like you're taking exploring or exploring, was it?
Explore date.
Explore date. Okay, so it was explore. Okay. So yes, so you would take the word explore and throw dating into it. So it would be about exploring one another on a date.
That's good. That's very good. It's actually being open to dating people outside of your typical type.
Oh, interesting. See, everyone's my type. That's a good thing. I love to say. I mean, I told you I do like the steroid look, but honestly, I find sexy in everyone. I have a gift.
Okay.
I see beauty in everybody.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
Like it.
My friends are like, you think everyone's gorgeous. I'm like, I can't help it. Okay.
You ready for the next one?
Yep. Let's hear it.
Erotomania.
Well, I love it. I love erotic.
I know you do.
And I love mania. I'm so manic. Manic's fun. So I would be like hyper erotic, hypersexual.
That's what you think it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So my definition of this person has a delusional belief that another person is in love with him or her.
Oof.
It's paranoid delusion.
Oof. I was going to say, it sounds like the word delusion. Really? Erotomania? That's very interesting. Okay, so Regi, I want you to summarize our episode about adult entertainment and dance, adult entertainers and romance.
I mean, I think it just really boils down to three things. One, know yourself. That's important. Know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be true to yourself. And then love yourself. Because romance and love is a wonderful thing. And when you find it, or when it finds you, just be ready and know how to recognize and know how to receive, because it can be a beautiful thing. It can happen at any time, at any place, but you got to do the work. And I think those questions that were asked today really had a long-term connotation attached to them, because people were wanting to explore to see if it's something that can be a long-term thing. So I thought it was awesome.
Thank you. Okay, you want to hear Ava Devine's bad advice?
Yeah, talk
Okay,
to
I'm
me.
going to summarize it. I felt that for adult entertainment people, adult entertainers and romance and love, there's hope. There's hope. I feel also it's all about communication and transparency, like being straight up, being very straight up, honestly, considerately, kindly. So that was my take on it. So I believe there's hope for everybody, cheaters, anyone, clients, adult entertainers, everyone, letter D, all of the above. And we just need communication and transparency.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is so much fun for me. I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of your platform and to come on your podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And to share this mic with you. This has been so much fun.
No, I want you. We're very close now. I want you back, and we're gonna have more fun, because guess what? There's a lot of questions that want our bad advice. Thank you. Okay, you guys, that wraps it up. Thank you. Over and out. Well, that wraps up another episode of Ava Devine's Bad Advice. Will you be the next bad advice receiver? Got questions? Ask away at badadvicequestion@gmail.com. That's badadvicequestion@gmail.com. Maybe I can give you some bad advice.